Hi, everyone. Welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour. It's March 18th, 2022, and you're watching the show where we drink and be merry and try to do ServiceNow stuff. That's basically the name of the game.
You can be Mary. I'll be Chuck.
Okay. Sure. Just don't call me Shirley. All right. So we're going to start with introductions. We'll start with Chuck.
Hey, there's only two of us. That makes it easy today.
I know. I'm used to the triangle of us, but
or 4 or 6 or whatever there was last week.
I think our record was 8. I think is our record so far.
And once again, thank you last week for the ladies of Lady Coding Happy Hour. That was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Did a great job. It was fun being in the peanut gallery. My name is Chuck Tomasi. We were doing intros, right? My name is Chuck Tomasi, Senior Developer Advocate at ServiceNow. Been here for, well, we'll just say since mid-2010. You can do the math yourself. And was a customer for a couple of years before that, with an extensive history in software development, project management, ITSM, you name it. There's a lot of nerdy, geeky stuff going on in there back into the early 80s.
And hi, everybody. I am not Senior Developer Advocate at ServiceNow. I've been on the platform for about 5 years now. Before joining ServiceNow 6 months ago, I was in higher education. And I guess I should reintroduce myself because I like this, Shirley Duque. Oh, that was a good one, Chris. I like that actually a lot.
I need my sad trombone for that one.
I got to practice my dad jokes. My baby's starting to understand it, so I got to start practicing more. And then now we introduce our drinks because that's what we like to do on our Friday episodes to close out our week.
Yeah, we're going to need it too because Chrome and StreamYard, we're getting along with each other today. I have another one of the 6-pack that Mark Scott brought over of Kilt Lifter. It's slowly disappearing. I think there's 1 left after this, maybe 2 left.
Nice.
So this is a Scottish-style amber ale, malty, toasted, love. I don't know how they got the love in the bottle, but I'm going to find out.
Do you want to know how they got the... I'm just kidding. I have to drive them right after this episode ends, so I'm drinking just a Cowboy cream soda from Jackson Hole Soda. I love cream soda. Any kind of cream soda, I'll just be drinking it by the droves.
That's really good over ice cream too. It's a nice alternative to a root beer float. Is a cream soda float.
Ooh, that sounds good. I bought extra of these. Maybe we'll do that tonight.
Yep.
What are we building today, Chuck?
We are going to, as the name implies, we're going to be putting the Facebook button on our instance login so that we can use Facebook credentials. Now, why, you say, would you let Facebook users into your system? And a great use case for this would be like a government agency. If you're the state of, insert your state here, and you want people to authenticate with Facebook rather than going through a process of creating their own user identification, username, choose a password, validate the password. All of that can be bypassed, and you can let your users in a lot faster. Now, we're going to be using OpenID Connect, which is a standard that's been around for a while. It's sort of built on top of OAuth 2.0. Don't get frightened and run away and start drinking now, because ServiceNow kind of smooths all of that out. It's even easier to implement than OAuth. You'll see some similarities when you see like client IDs or app IDs and secrets and that kind of thing. Just think of those as like usernames and passwords. But we've had OpenID Connect in place since Paris, so about the last 18 months. You could use it with Google, you could use it with AWS, you could use it with Apple. So if you had a developer key and you could go in and get the credentials, you could set this up. But Facebook, in their infinite wisdom, did things a little differently, and it didn't fit the pattern that our developers had put in. Apparently, their OIDC is not exactly the same as everyone else's. So happy to say that it doesn't matter anymore. Our logic is smart enough to go, oh, this way, that way. This is this is Facebook and this is everybody else. I guess there must be like one big if else in there. I don't know what it actually looks like under the hood. But that's what we're going to do. And it's broken up into two parts. We'll start out by creating the credentials, the application, the security on the Facebook side. This is very similar to how you would set up any other API or connection. Is you've got to tell the system you're integrating with, let me in. This is how I'm going to authenticate, that kind of thing. And then we're going to come back to the ServiceNow instance and do this. Now, if you are real observant and you watched the developer blog this morning, you may have noticed a new article. This is one of the few live coding happy hours that actually has a companion article to go through it. Because as I was going through and preparing for this thing, can I even do this? Now, I don't like to dry run live code too much, but this one was too valuable to spend the entire hour going, no, still getting a 404. No, getting a 401. That's better, I think. if we're, I wrote down some notes, and the notes turned into a more full-fledged blog article. So we have a blog article at the link you see there on the screen, devlink.sn/blog. So take a look at that. I do have another short link for it, but it's in Slack and it's in social media. You can find it there. I forgot to also mention the badge at the top. We're still in the San Diego season. So this is part of the San Diego release. Facebook OpenID. Yeah, that's fast. Facebook OpenID Connect is available with the San Diego release. Now, there's nothing to stop you from going and getting the credentials and everything and getting ready for that. But you can find all of our San Diego content, again, at the link you see right down there. There. devlink.sn/San Diego. We're just having a lot of fun with the visual effects today. And we've just started. They have the Internet Explorer of authentication. Got to be different. Oh, Twitter's up there too. Taking forever to get it OAuth 2.0.
With their own JWTs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm still working on getting my Twitter integration working for Integration Hub. It's supposed to be, 4 little strings that you paste in, but far be it for me. And even worse, you get a 200 error message, which isn't an error message. It's just an HTTP status. So it's hard to catch unless you're looking for it specifically. Like normally 400s and 500s trigger the error handler or a try catch. Oh no, not the Twitter failure. Okay, now enough about that integration. Maybe we'll hit that in another episode. We are going to start out right here on my developer. It's actually developers.facebook.com. And then there's a /apps. Now you can see I've played around in here about 10 years ago. I set up a little karate store app on Facebook, and that was all kinds of fun. Let's see if my little pointer still works. Yay, I can still. Oh, it's not broadcasting through to StreamYard. I've got a cursor locator that doesn't show up.
No.
Well, if I'd been sharing my screen, it would, but I'm sharing a browser tab. We had some technical issues beforehand, and this is as close as we could get. So what I'm going to do is start by saying, create app. Can I zoom? Oh, good, I can zoom. Create app. That's where I'm clicking. Okay, that's step 1. Then I'm going to create an app type, which is, in my case, it's consumer. You may be business, but I can't guarantee that the path will look exactly the same. It really doesn't matter. All I'm doing is the authentication. Then I give some basic information. Dev 79,000 PDI login.
Wow, what a nice round number for your PDI.
I know. I'd really hate to lose this one. I had an old one. It was like 22333.
Ooh, nice.
Now they're 6 digits. We're really cranking them up there. Okay. And that's it. I just give it some info there. Obviously, I need to authenticate. See if
so far, this is pretty standard with getting a consumer key and everything for that.
Right. Now, there's lots of things we could do, but obviously we're going to go after Facebook login. So we set that one up. At least my visual effects are working. Not a big guess here which way we're going, since ServiceNow is a web application. So we click www and give our site URL. HTTPS dev79k.service, don't forget the dash, .com.
Is it just the base?
I am going to copy and paste that because it's coming up a lot more. Because we have to give permission to specific domains and callbacks and all that good stuff. So once I save that, then watch this. Now, you could go through this whole continue stuff, but really it doesn't apply to us. There's like, set up the Facebook SDK for JavaScript, check login status, add the Facebook login button. Now, we're going to take care of that on our side, but we are going to jump over to settings because we were in quick start. Now we're going to just go for the throat. Okay, this is where it gets kind of fun. Client OAuth login, yes. Web OAuth login, yes. None of these up here really need to be changed, but what we do need to pay attention to is the valid OAuth redirects. And we need 2 of them in there, which seems odd because I've always thought there was just one. We'll do this dot nav page dot do tab. You see how you can now X out of it? And then we're also going to do one that you'll see when we get into ServiceNow, which is fb redirect.do. We apparently have a specific page for redirects. Nothing else really needs to be changed. It's just put those 2 in, save changes, and then we get to the fun part.
Should we be worried about that banner at the top?
No. We might get rid of that. I don't know. Over on settings, basic. I went into settings advanced once and I had a heart attack. Display name is what we typed in before. So
let me know if I need to hide screens at any point.
We may. We've got an app ID and an app secret, and I am going to be destroying this as soon as we're done. So don't worry about stealing anything. But I will take the app secret. So our app domain is going to be just the instance name, not the HTTPS part. The privacy policy and the user data deletion, they're apparently required, but you don't have to actually make them do anything because I don't know anywhere where it actually asks for them. So this is going to be HTTPS, and watch for errors because this will come back to bite you. Put this same thing down here. If you really have a policy or want to do something like that, you can put those in there. Doesn't bother me. I don't have them. I don't care. I don't even know where you activate those. Okay, now, yeah, we will need to go privacy for a second here, Earl, while I copy pasta these things out.
Here comes our faces.
Okay, hi.
I always have to remember when on my camera I got to sit up so I can be the same height as you.
I like how there's, okay, you can put it back. I like how there's a show button, but it doesn't say hide. It says reset.
Yeah.
So I am going to take that. And since I'm only sharing a browser tab, I guess I could dump this into VS Code. That would be handy. Hey, I don't have to worry about shrubbery anymore. Let me take this other one. Make sure I get these in the right order. Okay, so that happened. Now we've got those. That's pretty much all we got to do. We're really after that app ID and app secret. And just to make sure that I did save one last time, we're done there. So I'm going to tell this to stop sharing and share my PDI browser tab now. StreamYard.
Yeah, I'm guessing all the privacy stuff is GDRP stuff that is necessary now.
I would guess the same thing too. All right. Go ahead and share me up that. There we go. Into my PDI. Good old Dev 79K. And two things we need to make sure that I did ahead of time to save us some time. Let's see, system applications, all available applications, and we all know how long this takes to load. Hey, we want to go to all. We're looking for two plugins that need to be turned on. I guess I should have loaded this page ahead of time. In the meantime, are there any sassy comments or anything in the chat that we care about?
They're mostly talking about time zones being the death of us all.
Ugh. Write your government officials and tell them to turn it off. Stop doing that. I think we got into that last week, right? You said, "Oh, Chuck has it easy." No, that was in CTB Tuesday.
Yeah, because Arizona doesn't bother with it, which makes everyone else jealous.
Yeah, until you realize what I got to go through. Earl is now the same time as me. Last week, he was an hour behind. If Earl didn't mess with his clock, I wouldn't have to care. All right, we are looking for two plugins. One is multiple provider. See if I can spell it. Integration, multiple provider, this one. Single sign-on installer.
Good old multi-SSO.
Yep, multi-SSO. It's odd because here it's spelled multiple provider, but here it's
multi-provider.
Multi-provider. So you'll figure it out. The other one is approvals with e-signature. I don't know why or where this comes in, but it's there. Both of these are free plugins. They say free on them, so have at it. They're both installed. I don't even need to upgrade them. So that's good. But next, we need to configure the plugins. And I'm going to give you a caveat here. The instructions in the docs say go to auto recovery and make sure auto recovery is on. If you do this, it sets up one account, or I guess whatever accounts you want, but it starts with one account, kind of like a backdoor account in case SSO fails. You can still log in with local credentials. But then you have no choice. It's really goofy. I just decided to turn it off entirely. This is you're going to have to work with your. This is not the account recovery properties that I was looking at. I was looking for account recovery properties, not auto recovery. It's under account recovery properties. My documentation might be off, actually. This one, okay? Enable the account recovery feature and choose the desired settings by enabling local logins. Local logins will be blocked except for ACR users. Okay, that made it a little tough for me to keep doing development on my other instance. So let's turn that off. Again, check with your security people how you really want that to go. I'm doing this simply for demo purposes. And I think I just realized I needed to fix a picture in my article.
I mean, let's be clear. Let's be very clear. If you're integrating Facebook as a login, you probably should be making sure your security team's on board.
This is another thing I learned is I talked to our SSO developer over in India, and he said, somehow we recognize the difference between Facebook and some of the other ones. They said Facebook is a social account, so you really shouldn't have any roles or privileges, entitlements on accounts with that ability to log in. I went, oh, okay, which made it feel like it was really good for citizens logging into a government portal or something, but you don't want to hook up your admin account to do development with this.
Is that because the way that social lets you change your email address at will?
Maybe.
That's what I'm guessing.
As opposed to Google, which is authenticating with a specific account.
Yeah, it's like it coalesces based off of the email address.
Yep. So we want to go into, next is under multi SSO administration properties. We want to turn on multi-provider SSO. Just make sure all three of these are turned on. That's how you get going with this stuff. The username field here is how it communicates with the other side. Somewhere in that payload, it says chuck.tomasi@gmail.com or whatever. And that's how it understands what account it's going to create. 99 times out of 100, that's fine. Leave it alone. Notice I'm also doing all this stuff in global too. This is not in a scope of any type. Now,
Can it be done? It can't be done in a scope, anyways, right?
I don't think you can. Now for the fun part, configuring the identity provider. This is where things really come together. So far, this has all been set up. Now, when I turned on the plugin, when I activated the plugin, it created me this OIDC Facebook account automatically. I have tried to use another one, but it's kind of a waste of time because there's a lot of stuff pre-built in here. Just configure this one, okay? Step one is make it active. That helps. Right? Step two, put in the right instance in the ServiceNow homepage. It comes
Hey,
with
there it is again.
dev 79, da-da-da. Oops.
That's interesting that it didn't automatically do that for you.
When the plugin was loaded, I can kind of see how it came out that way. Step three, we want to show as a login option. All right. And our SSO label is what's going to show up on the button. It's going to say login with Facebook. Okay. I certainly don't want to say login with, Zuckerberg's credentials. I can put a logo on there. So if you think about it, it's just a nice little mnemonic. For the sake of fun, I already did that. I think I did this. Let's go check. Under System UI Images. Oh, it opened up a separate browser tab.
Describe it to us.
It's a list. Okay, it is in there. So let me just do this. I will save here for a moment. We'll come back to this. All images, DB images. And like most people, I went to images.google.com, got a decent looking Facebook image, and put it in there. When you click it, it says, if you wish to insert it, here is, there's a sample for you. Well, that popped up in a different browser also. Facebook-icon.png, which will typically be the same as this. There's no slash, there's no slash images. It will render it the right size. So let's go back to history, OIDC provider. I love the history tab. The fact that this filter remains and this filter remains and history is right there makes it just a little faster to jump around in the UI.
I didn't realize the filters remain the same across.
Oh yeah, I'm digging this now.
That's good. Now we're cooking with gas.
Logo, paste there. Also, I don't know if you noticed, there is a slight UI bug. We have a lock and an unlock.
Oh.
Okay. If you hit one of them, it takes care of the other one. I have the team checking into that. I don't believe that is even a next experience thing. I think it's been there a while.
Huh.
Down on the bottom, we want to automatically provision users. So when somebody logs in and they don't have an account, log them in.
Right.
And you can see there's like all this other stuff that I really wouldn't want to set up from scratch. I wouldn't know how to set it up from scratch.
It's SSO.
It's SSO. Yeah, leave it alone. They give you a nice annotation to tell you how to do it, but really it's the fastest way is go update that. And then one of my favorites is, what role do you want to give people when they log in? This could be for a specific application. It could be something as generic as public. Okay, you assign these roles to these peoples when they get provisioned. So let's, are we done? We're not done. Under OIDC entity, I'm hoping I didn't miss anything. We're almost near the end. This might be a short episode. Click into Facebook. Oop, I didn't save.
You're going too fast, Chuck. You need to drink some more.
Okay, I can live up to that.
I can verify he actually did that. He didn't just make the sound.
My wife hates that sound.
the thirst quencher Coca-Cola ad sound,
especially since I got my kids to start doing it really exaggerated. They go,
ooh.
God, that's some dad fun you can have there.
That's some good radio talk too, just doing that sound right into the microphone, right?
My client ID is my app ID. This is where you got to kind of translate from Facebook speak to ServiceNow speak. The client secret is
I'm
the
gonna move
apps.
away real quick.
No, I got it.
We're good.
It doesn't show it. It's password.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm good. Yeah, I just pasted it in there. Great. That's one. That's two. So client ID, client secret, and look over here. There's that redirect URL again. Again, from the demo data, we got to make it our own. And this is the FB redirect that we typed in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our redirect URL.
So this was also automatically created for you. This
it was in the demo data, but I just need to this OIDC entity. See, it is
usually on these records, those things get auto-generated when you save the record.
Yes, or if it creates it from scratch. But again, this came along from the plugin. Thank you.
Right.
We have our good old traditional OAuth entity profiles. There's really nothing to configure down here, but sometimes it's just fun to see what we're doing. OpenID and email is default. It's an authorization code. OAuth provider will take us back to the parent record.
That's nice. Everyone has struggled with profile scopes and
good Lord, yes.
So that's nice.
That's why I swear that was the catalyst for doing that whole integration series. I said, I need a diagram of OAuth. Nobody's ever given me one. So I'm going to reverse engineer this thing and figure it all out for myself. Part of the problem with OAuth is, I'll tell you, since we got a minute for a sidetrack, when you go to the application registry, it says application registries here, but then when you drill in, it suddenly changes to OAuth OIDC entity because it's like a parent-child base class child class thing. If you go to say Azure AD, that's an OIDC thing too. I guess it will say right here, but if you go to this one, it says OAuth client.
Yeah.
Mobile app. So there's different classes of these tables underneath, which gets a little confusing. So application registry is a base class, and then these other ones are underneath it. Kind of like
the other giveaways, if you press new right now, it'll tell you there's a bunch of classes.
An interceptor. We don't talk about interceptors too much. They are really handy.
This one is a big one, and I think CMDB has a big one. And
CMDB has a big one. That one wasn't big. You're thinking about credentials.
Credentials also has one though, yeah.
Credentials, and it seems to change on every release. Credentials has lots of different types of credentials you can put in there. All right, now we're just having a distraction. If task.list, if you do a new on that one, it will give you one. Come on, I hit enter.
Does it? Because you can make tasks directly to the table too.
No, you can't. This is an interceptor.
Oh, all right.
I mean, if you do task.do, you can.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, that's a nice list. Okay, interceptors, if you haven't looked at them, we've done videos on that before too. Where were we? Oh, I think we're ready to test.
The credentials all done?
The credential is all done.
I mean the registry, the application registry.
I didn't need to touch the registry. Multi identity provider. I'm just going to go back and check one more time. OIDC Facebook. Yes. I haven't figured out what default does. I'm not going to make this a default here today.
Is there an ordering or anything?
No. So let's go and log out.
If anything, all this setup shows that, hey, anybody looking at this video, Make
Looky
sure to
there.
include demo data. Oh, hey, look
Log
there.
in with Facebook. Now, I am going to, I have a chuck.tomasi. This should take me to Facebook. Don't worry about that submit for login review. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put this in production. I don't know if it'll work. I forgot to flip the production switch. This may fail. Good, because it wouldn't be live coding happy hour if we didn't have some kind of error. Oh, it took me right in. How did it know who I was? I'm me, but I'm not this isn't my admin account. I must have authenticated here at some point because it should have said, hey, now give me your Facebook password. And then do you accept? So
Yeah,
this
'cause
is clearly
that's why it
a
redirects.
skinny down, no, I've got public access. So I'm not going to have a whole lot. None of my favorites are there. Obviously, none of my history is there, but I'm in. And let's go and log out of this one.
This video makes it look even easier than it actually is.
That's why we're doing this, Earl. I like the new next experience logout page rather than that old standard one that just had some text in the upper corner.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hey, apparently I didn't log out.
I'm having flashbacks. This happened so many times.
You have successfully logged out, but if I go to navpage.do, it takes me right back in.
Uh-oh.
Somewhere there's a session token or something going on here. External logout complete.
You know what? I wonder if the Facebook, it's auto-validating right when you go into it, so it's logging you in every time you do that.
Login.do. I can go to login.do. Go in with my traditional account, and what I should see, there we go. There we go. User administration, users. I should see a new account created today. There's chuck.tomasi@gmail.com. And look over here. It's got this SSO source field.
Oh, is that the identity provider?
That is the SysID of the identity provider.
Oh,
so
perfect.
Here's the important part. Now that I've created an account with Facebook, let's say I go and implement Google.
Mm-hmm.
I can't log in that way. It's not going to work.
Would it will deny you, or will it create another account?
No, it'll deny me. It's going to go, this is not for you. The other thing to note is there's my public role that I said, hey, provision new people with this.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of cool that it worked out this way. The show XML, just for the fun of it. Let's go poking around in here. There's our SSO source again. You can see that. And I know this is right because I remember the DDDD5. That's right out of the plugin data.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one that I was looking for?
Oh, we can't see the XML, by the way.
Darn it.
Can you copy paste some of the key things you're looking at?
I could possibly put some of the, let's see. Oh, here. We see DDDD5 over here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right. So that's the society of the, I got to figure out what happened to StreamYard today. It's going to bother me all weekend.
Well, you have to figure it out by tomorrow.
I have to figure it out by tomorrow. Yep. I might just reboot everything. I don't know. Or log out. I'm wondering if it's because on one of them I was logged in as ServiceNow Dev, and on the other one I'm logged in as Chuck Tomasi. But anyway, so we can provision. Think about this. That's the other. Let's go ahead and log out this one. And what I want to know is, if we go into Service Portal, I did a /sp. Look at that. I didn't even have to do anything. It's automatically there. And so think about it. If you were a government agency and you had that on your portal, that's pretty darn cool. And let's make sure this is me and not the administration me. Yep, that's me.
So check if you log out and then try to go back just to the regular domain again. I'm gonna guess that Facebook token is gonna auto log you back in.
I'm guessing it will too. Yeah, I could see the URL going, hey, let's do a redirect.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it does that benefit for the user, so that hey, we know you already authenticated Facebook, so we're gonna log you in directly.
So I'm forcing it on the URL by going to /login.do.
So if you think you're not actually getting logged out, you are getting logged out. It's just that your Facebook integration is still live. So it's like, hey, we know who you are, and they're going to log you directly in instead of going to a login screen. It's not an error. Working as intended.
So let me show that other tab real quick. There was one more thing that I needed to demonstrate, and that I said I forgot to do. So share screen, Chrome tab. Let's go back to Facebook's credential thing. Up at the top, it says app mode. Now, apparently, this doesn't mean anything except your app can only request data from users with an app role. To request end user data, you must have advanced access permissions and be set to live mode. So you got to do this. Okay, it's now, get out of the way.
I mean, it still worked even in dev mode.
Yes, it did, but I'm wondering if that was just because I'm me, or if we saw that credential message that said, hey, you're not really live.
Oh, you're right. Because it just said when you hovered over it, it said it'll only work for people that have credentials for this app.
And I think that was in you saw something in here too that said, by the way, let's see, where was it? Settings basic. There was a header up here at one point. Remember you saw it on this side?
Yeah, you're right. There was like an error and an informational banner.
Yep.
And now it's gone.
I'm not sure how you tell ServiceNow to forget and re-authenticate, though. That kind of bothers me. Maybe we should hack around and find that.
What would happen if you clear out the SSO?
The SSO source?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a really good question. A dangerous one, but a good one. Hey, it's not my account. We can try it. I mean, I can still log in without it. So it's just a text field. Feels like it should be a reference field. Okay, let's cut that and paste that into VS Code. And then log out.
Maybe it's not a reference field because it knows it could be coming in as demo data or from other sources.
Oh, look. It just jumped me to the failed screen.
It did not like that.
Okay, well, hang on. We're not. Let's go find out what happened. This is how I was debugging earlier too. Because sometimes, like if you've already created an account with Google, Facebook's going to come along and go, I can't create an account with that. You've already got a unique key called chuck.tomasi@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my Tuesday night at about 10 p.m. with the guy in India. I learned a lot that way.
I guess the next try would be to delete the whole record.
That's why we share here. So let's go to system logs all, and we should see error accessing, method failed. User's SSO field is empty. Ensure that the user you're trying to log into is from the correct source as mentioned in the user's SSO source field. No thrown error.
Says the thrown error.
That's actually kind of funny. That's interesting because let me show you something else from one of my favorite instances. I'm going to share a new tab here in a second, but I got to get logged in.
I already finished my drink. It tastes so good.
Wow, you're really bored. It's
gone.
Share. This This is from our old friend karaoke.servicenow.com. Watch this though. Up until about 3 days ago, I didn't have Facebook login on here. I only had Google. Now I've got both. And if I go to user administration, users, oh, somebody logged in with Facebook. There's
Nice.
DDD5. But look at all these other ones. If I look for something.gmail.com, the majority of them are blank. Yet they logged in with Google as their SSO. But apparently now,
and it still works.
Now that it's San Diego, it's starting to fill in the Google OIDP.
So if you sorted by date,
this is when it was updated. That doesn't quite make sense.
Do created.
The fact that I have updated and created tells you I am way too into this data.
Yeah, it looks like more of the more recently created from scratch.
I would agree with that assessment. Wait a minute, but 12, 14, 12. Okay. Danny Mortensen was on again. I didn't turn on. I mean, this thing was only updated to San Diego like a week or two ago. It wasn't that. And we're back into December when these were created. So sometimes it cares and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know.
So, Google's authentication knows whether it has SSO ID or not?
Maybe. Let's go take a look. Since we're here.
Is Danny Mortensen and all of them getting errors?
Yeah, we don't know. They don't come back. I don't have a lot of repeat customers in this application, apparently. Let's go to the identity providers over here. And here's my Google one. Looks very similar. Google, there's the logo. Actually, I use the full URL in this one for whatever reason. I don't know why. I provision them with a specific role. The OIDC entity. A lot of this looks exactly the same from this side as it did from Facebook. So there's really no major difference of configuring Facebook versus configuring Google. I still need a client ID. I still need a client secret. All the change is on the other end. It's like, where do I get these things?
Yeah.
So this is really handy. I thought there was a script difference though. Hold on. OIDC Facebook. Facebook has there's the redirect. User provisioning, provision data source Facebook. I haven't been down this road. But I didn't know about that SSO source, but then again, I haven't done SSO in a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's probably changed. That SSO source may not have been around in 2011. Interesting stuff. So yeah, have some fun poking around with that. Kevin said, I'm not done yet. No, he says, Chuck says I'm not done yet. My beer's only half gone.
Earlier, someone asked, we talked about at the beginning of the episode about what would be the benefit of adding Facebook authentication, and I answered in chat. For example, if you have a pub-facing app or sign up like the karaoke app, and you need people to participate, but they need to create accounts to do a sign up or anything like that. A lot of people have Facebook, so it's an easy way to allow them to. Or better yet, if you have multiple ways for people to sign up, then they can use whichever one they prefer.
The other option, obviously, is, and you can clearly do this in case people go, I don't trust Google, I don't trust Facebook, I'm going to do it myself. We have an external user provisioning available. Let me go back to, I don't know, one of these browsers.
Yeah, can you show us what it looks like when you have multiple ones too, if like on your karaoke app, if it's because you have Facebook and Google, right?
I certainly can. Share me up there, Batman. There we go. So let me log out. Wow, log out moved. I already got used to the new UI.
Oh, yeah.
If we look at it from the way a user would come in, they'd come into this service portal, devlink.sn/karaoke. This is the way that multiples look.
Cool. Okay. What most people should be used to seeing when they're when you're
Yeah,
signing up for new sites and stuff.
very familiar. The other way is we do have an external user creation provisioning process. I wrote my original one because it came along about 6 months after I created mine, like many things we write by ourselves.
Right.
It was added to the product in Orlando, I wanna say, might have been Paris, and then I went, "Oh, I will never write my own user provisioning again. This takes care of everything." You can define what fields you want on the form. Obviously, my theme is kinda jacking with some of the widgets over here,
Right.
but, first name, last name, and then when they submit this, I even added a region because if you're playing along with karaoke, you don't wanna be picking videos that aren't available in your region, so it has to match it.
Mm,
It just adds it to a filter, so that's a very specialized field for my portal for my application.
nice.
You can put in CAPTCHA, you can put in, uh, several other things. It's really easy to configure how this behaves, and, it does the email authentication for you. So when I fill this out, it creates the account,
It
but it's
creates
not
the
active.
fake pa it creates the temp password and everything, right?
Yes, it's like a registration request. It's an account request, and then you get an email that says, "Please validate this was you," because you put your email right in this, email field right there.
Mhm.
Then you click it, then you do the password setting piece. And, it to try and do that yourself is just a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
I had in fact, I think I still have a table on mine. Let me see. This is the typical Google login. Pretty painless. We're gonna get out of this and go now, ordinary users can't do this, but since I'm not an ordinary user, my account says I'm allowed to do this. I made sure that I tried to keep them in the box as much as possible. Um, I have a table under administration. It's probably still under here. Yeah, password keys.
Oh my.
So when I do a password reset, it's still in there. So I know who requested a password. Let's see. Has anybody reset their password recently? Oh, well, Blair did. Blair was on the cruise when she created this account. I almost got booed off stage at karaoke on our cruise because I threw in a commercial for this app.
Oh, well, I never.
Yeah, Anthony Montgomery was not happy about that. But afterwards, Blair said, "Hey, do you still have that URL?" And I said, yes, I do. So she's from the UK. I don't think she watches this show though. So anything else we need to poke around with, or are we going to cut this one 10 minutes short?
Well, I feel like we poked around a good amount of, like,
Learned a lot about SSO. This is
yeah.
one of those things that you will learn a lot by bumping your head, but hopefully I've shown you a path to bump less. And again, there is a blog article, devlink.sn/sd-fb San Diego Facebook OIDC, OpenID Connect. Again, you can find it directly through the devlink.sn/blog. So check that out. Makes it real easy. I guess I could share that one, right? devlink.sn/blog. It was published today on March 18th. I will share that tab as well. So share screen. You can see what it looks like for your very own eyes. ServiceNow developer blog. There we go. Configuring Facebook OpenID Connect. Pretty much exactly what I went through. And
Ooh.
I will replace that one incorrect screen. It's about down here. It says, there it is. It says go to auto recovery properties, but this is actually the account recovery properties. I did that wrong. So this gray picture needs fixing.
They watch the episode, they'll know what it is.
Yeah, I just told them how they're going to bump their knees and elbows less, and then I throw in one.
Very nice.
So I know that was a little less hacky than our usual live codes, but this one had the potential to go off the rails so many times.
It was a little creator toolboxy, but it's okay. It's Friday.
Yep.
We're still celebrating the end of the week.
Yes, we are. Happy Friday, everybody, unless you're watching in Sydney.
Happy
Well,
Saturday.
Saturday. We haven't seen Upside Down Andrew in a while. We are working on plans for CreatorCon. We've had a number of good weeks good meetings this week, brainstorming sessions. If you haven't heard, CreatorCon is going to be in person. So we will be at 4 locations. We are still working on the content for a landing page. Otherwise, we'd throw a link up there for you right now. But you are able to register for Knowledge. CreatorCon is the developer event inside of Knowledge. So pretty much everybody is watching this. Think CreatorCon. Its parent is Knowledge. Okay, so it's a child event inside the parent event. Well, now we're getting into hierarchical events.
There's also a digital experience.
Yes, there is a digital experience in case you're not available to go. We are not doing one big event in Vegas or Orlando. It's going to be 4 smaller events. So May, correct me on the dates here, 11, 12 is New York and The Hague. So over in the Netherlands. So we're doing EMEA and AMS. 2 weeks later, which would be the 25th, 26th of May, will be Las Vegas and Sydney. Now, you can kind of get the idea that some of these things are happening at the same time. So we had to divvy up our crew. And at this point, I will be going to New York and Sydney. You will see Brad and Earl in Vegas and The Hague, is what the schedule is right now. Again, there's still about 7 weeks left to go. Lots of digital content left to record. Lots of live content to figure out. There's going to be a CreatorCon space. So if you can make it to one of these live events, we're going to have a hack zone, and we're going to have a little lounge/theater area where we'll be doing live presentations and speaker breakouts and lots of hands-on labs. So all the goodness you've come to know if you've been at a previous live Knowledge, which was last done 3 years ago. Oh, it hurts to say that, but man, it's going to be sweet to get back and see some of these people we haven't seen in years. And if this is your first Knowledge, as is the case with my son-in-law, you're in for something special. These will be smaller venues, though. It's not going to be 20,000 people in each one of these. So it could be 2,500. It could be 5,000. So it's going to be a little more intimate, shall we call it, for that.
Intimate. Come join us for live shows. You can yell at us in person instead of in the chat room.
Yes. Go, hey, click on this. What happens if you go there? Chuck, you typed something wrong. You forgot a slash on your URL, because that always
keep
happens.
Forgetting to save.
Yeah. A lot of fun coming up. I'm really looking forward to it, but it's scary that it's so close and we still have so much work left to do.
Welcome to CreatorCon every year.
we're still putting out the San Diego content. We're working on CreatorCon. There's still the regular machine that needs to be fed. Like Breakpoint's not going away. It still has to be, the podcast coming out. Next week's Breakpoint is going to be with Julia Perlis on Decision Builder. We're also doing a Decision Builder.
That's Friday. Julia's will be with us on Friday.
She's going to be joining us for live code on Friday. What do we got on Creator Toolbox on Tuesday? I don't know.
I know because it's
devlink.sn/blog / San Diego.
Or order guide sequencing.
Gabby is asking if we're going to be doing a live Breakpoint. That would be interesting. We'd have to stream the audio and potentially the video as well for an interview. Don't know about that, but I may bring a portable recording rig so we could do on-the-spot interviews, or maybe some drop-ins for the show. Don't know. I get creative when I have a microphone in my hand. So we shall see. I'm also jotting down everything that I'm supposed to be doing because I keep volunteering to do more.
Yeah, you do.
Gabby was on the open office hours. If you are a speaker, be sure to join those open office hours that we have time blocks for. Jason and I and Earl and Brad are on there to help shape your message, your presentation, even tweak the abstract if it still needs it, but I think those have been locked down. So please take advantage of the time you've got with us. If you're doing that, it's very helpful. In fact, we came up with a potential new idea for the developer lounge. People were telling war stories yesterday about things that went horribly wrong and what they learned and how they're going to avoid them in the past. And it's called Experience, people. And we may or may not be having a session where we're sharing those stories. So it could be just live and go, hey, Gabby, get up here. Tell me that story you told me on the open office hours. And because people were reacting just on this Zoom with about 6 people. They're going, oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, I think that. Oh, we gotta rate our drinks.
We have to rate our drink. We almost left without the most important part of the show. My kilt lifter, it's a kilt lifter. I've probably had too many of these, so I'm rating a little lower. It doesn't have that same crisp refreshingness, but hey, if you're into these, Scottish style amber ales, you're gonna love it. I'm gonna give it a 3.75. Let's give it a 4 for the success factor today. So it was nice. It was refreshing. It was very. It wasn't hoppy. It's not an IPA kind of ale, but it didn't have. I don't know, it's got its own character. I'll say.
All right. I have a cowboy cream soda since I have to drive right now. It's actually one of the better cream sodas I've had. I'll give it a 4 with the success also. And I think that wraps it up for us. Again, we had a lot of announcements at the end of this one. Check them out on the blog mostly, and you'll be hearing about CreatorCon and knowledge stuff organically if you're plugged into the community from many different directions. I'm sure. Anyways, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye.